show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC on ABC 1, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. We're going to talk two free plays that we have on this card. We're going to talk main event. Also have a prop that I want to talk about on the Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown fight. So we're going to talk about that. But Happy New Year. It's a new year. I know we're already into January. First card of the year. Excited about it. Really had a great year. I know I don't got to go into it all in detail of last year, but 2020 was a monster year for subscribers, clients, all around. Ended the year plus 84.56 return on investment. Actually ended with also 67% winner on my client plays. And that gave me the title for MMA capper at WagerTalk, #1. And it also made me #3 out of all cappers, all sports, basketball, baseball, soccer, table tennis, Russian ping pong, I don't know. But all of those together, overall, I was #3. So again, doesn't mean you have to do those major sports to bet and make money. You got to find the right spots, and you got to place smart wagers. So what we're going to be looking at here now is also, we've got some plays up on WagerTalk. I have 4 listed up on WagerTalk right now. One of them was actually just canceled. Just found that out. I may be popping in another one there, and that's going to be something new that I'll be doing this year on my client plays, that as we're leading up to these, I may find a spot that I want to, throw another play in there. We did that on the last card. Worked out really well. But I want to maybe see if there's some other spots there that leading up to the fight, maybe after the weigh-ins, gonna find something that I like. Those are the kind of things that I want to make sure I want to take a look at leading up to these. So right now I've got 3, maybe having a 4th one that I'll be adding onto that. So check it out, link down in the description at WagerTalk.com. So with that being said, we are going to jump into the main event of the evening between Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. Right now we've got Max Holloway is a -180, and we've got Kattar is around the +155 range. So like we always do here, we go down 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see what we like, and see if one fighter can expose the other, and if it makes sense to place a wager. So what we're going to be doing here first, we're going to talk about Max Holloway, -180 roughly around, and 3 fights ago he fought Frankie Edgar. Now this was coming just after he fought Dustin Poirier. This was a fight where he moved up in weight, wanted to get that title shot, wanted to fight Khabib, wanted to, it looked like, since Max was such a destroyer in his division, wanted to move up. And Poirier really poured it on him, beat him up, really was able to kind of walk through a lot of Max's punches. This was Max going back to his normal weight, fighting Frankie Edgar here, and was it going to be more of a hangover after losing that fight? But this was a spot here, he really just pieced up Frankie Edgar. I mean, Frankie Edgar, from beginning to end, very early on in that fight, Frankie pushed forward, he was looking to, cut distance, maybe look for the takedowns, utilize some of his wrestling, some of his grappling. He's a brawler mentality, kind of moving forward there. And Max right away kind of, allowed Frankie to kind of do what he does, kind of, trying to push forward. But as soon as Max got that range, it was pretty much all over. I mean, it was just a dominant performance from Max Holloway from beginning to end. Going out there, working his ankles, working good striking, high volume. And in this fight here, it was, the takedown percentage was, Frankie Edgar was 1 for 14 on takedowns in this 5-round fight. I mean, that is just really shows that, Max Holloway has really great takedown defense, but overall skill set there. He's just able to kind of keep him on the outside, utilize his range, outlanding Frankie overall. And really Frankie was doing this lunging kind of forward movement. Was not able to really cut that distance, find the opportunity to kind of get him up against the cage. The only time he took him down was really where Max kind of looked to really, lay it on him. He had hurt Frankie, was looking to really kind of opened it up a little bit. That's where Frankie got the takedown. But really quickly, Max was able to kind of get back up, get back to his feet, and ended up, securing, getting back to standing. But this was a unanimous decision victory for Frankie. I'm sorry, for Max Holloway. He goes out there, gets the victory, and moves on. And then he went up there and he fought Alexander Volkanovski. Now, this was a title fight here that, I'm not going to dive too much into this one. I really want to kind of dive in more into that second time that he fought Volkanovski. But this first time that they fought, I mean, it was very interesting because a lot of people really hadn't seen Max Holloway really kind of fight through adversity as much. Of course, against Poirier in the division above, but in his own division, he had been the kingpin for a while. He really had a great skill set that nobody could really kind of figure out. And really with Volkanovski, early in this fight, a different kind of style that he right away said, I am going to just chop at your legs. I'm going to go out there. I'm not going to allow you to kind of get your movement, get your, into your rhythm. He was firing hard leg kicks from beginning of that fight. And I think that was something that totally took Max out of his game. I mean, you could tell he was hurt. You could tell even in certain spots he was quickly switching to, changing his stance to kind of have that front leg that was getting chopped, pushing it to the back, not allowing Volkanovski to really chop away. And you could tell that the offense was different. You could tell that Max was hurt. You could tell that he was out of just rhythm overall. But really, there was not much that I thought. Although the scorecards may say that it was a pretty closer of a fight than it was, I really saw it at almost an easy 3-2 to possibly a 4-1 for Volkanovski all around. I mean, there wasn't much that he do. Even the forward pressure, and even the thing that, it kind of took Max out of rhythm was the walking him down. He was not scared of the punches. He was not scared of the power that Max has. Max is a big volume guy. He's going to push a lot of volume out, and that's really where he's going to have the success. We're just kind of pouring it out. Yes, he's finished some fighters back, but this was something where really Volkanovski, who's a big guy, was able to kind of take those shots and say, I'm willing to take that to kind of push forward and land a big shot. He goes out there, he does lose. Max Holloway does lose his title in that fight. It was, a fight where, again, I thought that it was pretty easy decision for Volkanovski in that fight. Now you take a look at the other side is the second fight that they had. And this was a little bit different. And I thought that Max did a lot of, adjustments. I think that he knew kind of the strategy that was going to be happening and ended up changing it. And in this second fight, again, Volkanovski did what he had to do with the leg strikes. He was looking for the leg kicks. He was looking to chop him. He knew that was such a big advantage for him, where it really kind of slowed down the movement of Max Holloway. And first round, you did see that he was looking to do that. But the difference that Max did was basically, made him pay. It wasn't that Max was backing up. It wasn't that Max was saying, hey, I'm gonna, you're gonna throw a leg kick, I'm gonna try to move out of the way, or he made him pay every single time, pretty much every single time that he was firing those leg kicks. That was a big change. And you saw it in that first round. He rocked Volkanovski, and even kind of, Max kind of fit, actually kind of mocked him for being rocked, and then he rocked him again late in that first round. And that first round was really, this looked like this is Max's fight for the taking. He, two big shots early in that fight, and even going into that second round was the same thing. Volkanovski looking for those leg kicks. He knew it was a weak spot, kept sticking to it, and that is an adjustment that he wasn't making in this fight. At least in my opinion, Volkanovski was not making the adjustment in this fight. He was pretty much, I'm going to stick with what I do. I'm going to keep working those leg kicks. And again, you kept seeing that Max Holloway kept making him pay as he moved in close, kept making him pay. And into that third round, the same thing. Good exchanges for both. I think this was the round where, you could tell that Max was almost just, it was almost like he was getting in a rhythm. He was almost very comfortable. It was really that old Max, because I thought that Max looked off in that first fight compared to this fight here, where I thought he was on target, looked good. And in that third round, after the third round, you even heard Bisping in the announcer table say, this is a 3-0 right now. This is probably a 3-0 for Max. Max looks great. He's sharp. He's doing everything right. And I kind of had it the same kind of way judging it. I kind of had it the same kind of way. But again, the stick to it was that fourth round where Volkanovski started landing a little bit more. That's where he kind of had his best round, I would think. Kind of looked pretty good in there, was landing some nice shots, good exchanges. And again, Max was firing as much as he could. That's a big thing for him. The volume is going to be a big thing from him. Even going into Saturday is going to be a big thing from him against Kattar. And going into that fifth round, kind of the same thing. The fourth, fifth round, there was a takedown or two for Volkanovski and didn't really do too much with it. So I really thought that the fight was Max's fight to win on the judges' scorecards. Didn't have that way. It didn't end up panning out that way. You did see that Volkanovski get that decision victory. But overall, great fight for Max. Losing showing for him, but a great fight for him overall. So he does lose that fight back-to-back times against Volkanovski. Now you got the other side, you've got Calvin Kattar. Kattar, again, is around the plus 155 range, somewhere around there. 3 fights ago, he fought Zabit. Now, Zabit is very, a crazy style, but, something I would say somewhat similar to Max, where he utilizes a lot of different weapons, has some kicks, has great boxing, good movement. And Zabit here, I think, just really, it was a close early. There was a couple spots where I think that Kattar looked pretty good. But overall, the level-changing kicks, and Kattar was just not able to pick them up. He just was not comfortable where the exchanges were happening, what was kind of going on. I feel like Kattar was kind of utilizing his boxing, and he was very timid. And that's something that he needs to correct going into Saturday, is if he thinks he's going to be fighting Max Holloway, who's going to be having the big volume, he's got to match that. He's got to be able to match that volume and match those attacks. Can't wait and sit back and let someone like Max go out there and fire 4 or 5 shots to his 1 or 2. The volume is going to be there for Max. Here was kind of the same thing. Kattar just didn't really push that big volume out. Kind of the 1-2 combination shots, and allowed Zabit to kind of land and keep going. And the big thing here is that Kattar is he's got a fantastic jab. I mean, and his range is, he doesn't have this long range, but he is a very rangy striker, and he's a kind of person where, and I always use Amanda Nunes for this, but Amanda Nunes is not somebody that has this large, reach. But she really can extend her entire arm and have power at it. It's not that she has to be in tight, throwing the hooks. She's able to really utilize power, extending her arm completely. That's something that Kattar is very good at. And Kattar also has that, where he's able to set up his offense with the big jab. And the big part here that Zabit was able to do, Zabit was able to smother the jab. And a way to really kind of stop a jabber is to really get in his face. Don't allow him to use it. Don't allow him to extend it. Don't allow him to paw it out. And Zabit did that from beginning to end. Really threw Kattar off. It was a decision victory for Zabit. It was a loss for Kattar. That was a fight 3 fights ago. So there you have it there. Then 2 fights ago, it was against Jeremy Stephens. This was a fight here where you got Stephens, who's a brawler. You got a guy who's going to go in there. He's going to look for blood. He's going to hunt for the finishes. And this was a spot, again, early on, it looked like Stephens was doing pretty good. Stephens looked pretty good. He was landing some big shots. He was pushing forward on him, and he was throwing heavy. I mean, everyone knows that's what he does. He throws the heavy shots. That's what he's looking to do there. Kattar, again, kind of waited. He kind of waited for the spot because he knew that, again, Stephens is the kind of guy that's going to want to look toe-to-toe. He's going to want to look to brawl. He's going to want to look to stand and bang. And that's not really Kattar's style. He's fine boxing, but that's not his style to just stand and just fire off without any defense. He's going to be very calculated. He's a very technical striker. Those are the kind of striking that he's going to be having. And this was a spot where he was mixing it up nicely, and then it started to go the other way. And then there were some nice shots. He ended up kind of rocking Stephens a little bit, but then the inside elbow, which completely just flatlined Stephens, put him to his back. Fight over, knockout victory, says a lot the way that he was able to finish Stephens right there. Stephens doesn't have, obviously, the big arsenal that you're going to see from Max Holloway, but he looked good in that spot and goes up there, gets the victory, a 2nd-round knockout for Calvin Kattar. And then most recently, he fought Dan Ige. Now, this was one where I thought Ige would really give him a lot of problems going into this fight. There was, the takedown ability, kind of changing it up. Ige does have, some good stand-up game, but he can mix it up pretty well with some wrestling. Got the wrestling background. Thought that would really kind of, maybe rattle Kattar a little bit, taking him out of his element. But this was a spot here where you saw how, the slick boxing. I thought it was the best showing that Kattar's had, where he was really outside boxing, utilizing the jab. You could easily see who had the better striking. I mean, it was pretty far in between, where you could even see Ige. Ige was shooting for those early takedowns, wasn't able to do it, fending them off, moving to the outside. And again, the same kind of thing, where if you couldn't cut that distance, you see a fighter kind of lunge. They're allowing themselves to be hit because they can't get that rhythm, they can't get that movement. They go, they fire, they look for the big shot, and that's not going to win you fights unless you can land the big bomb. But that's not going to win fights. Kattar's very technical, very sound when it comes to his defensive side as well. Goes out there, looked fantastic there from beginning to end. It was a great showing for him overall. And again, you saw the jab. You saw the way that he was able to set that up, and the jab just was, and it's not just, he's pawing out there. It's a stiff jab, and then he follows up. And when he lets those hands go, and you did see in this fight, he did it a little bit there, where he lets those hands go. His combinations are extremely fast, quick developing, and he's able to kind of bounce in and out. And you saw it there. He beats Dan Ige via decision, unanimous decision. So there you have it there. So now, we will look now, so with that all being said, the big thing here, obviously, you've got Max Holloway, who is past champion, versatile striking, has the weapons, has faced the upper echelon of fighters. High volume striker, that's a big thing too you're going to see. You know, again, big volume, not scared to go out there, has some finishing power, but again, the volume, he's kind of, kill you with a barrage of shots over time. He's not going to have that one big knockout shot, but he can really just kind of melt you with big volume. And I think the one thing that Max does that is something that I think that he will have a little bit over Kattar is the fact of his fight IQ. I think Kattar definitely has, some fight IQ there, but I think Max Holloway has a phenomenal fight IQ. And the big thing that he does, and you've seen him kind of do in other fights, is, that first round, or maybe not the whole first round, but part of that first round, and, he is not scared to kind of sit back and see the movement, see the strikes, kind of start to calculate how he can actually defeat his opponent. He's not going out there right away and, let's go. He's comfortable taking his time. And that could be something that either could help or hurt Kattar, because Kattar may be able to find, he's a kind of guy too that is a little bit slower of a starter, may help him in a way, but that's something that Max Holloway is very good at, to kind of start to pick up tells, pick up the feints, pick up what he's trying to do, any of the tricks that his opponent's trying to do. Max is very good at that. On the other side, you've got Kattar, high-level boxer, fast developing combinations, rangy jab. That's going to be a very big part of his offense on Saturday. Good footwork and good counter striker. You definitely see some counter striking ability for him. The way that he kind of moves around the cage, waiting for the offense to come towards his way, and he's able to find the openings coming back. I think some of the keys, though, for Kattar to get this victory is he's got to really match that volume. Again, and I've said it before, but he's got to match that volume. He can't allow Max to just dictate the pace. He cannot sit back and say, I'm going to be able to, knock Max out in one shot. I think he needs to really kind of work through some of that, find those out openings, and push out his volume. And when you've seen Kattar go out there and throw a big combination, you see the hand speed that he has, that sometimes I feel like he doesn't just let go. Maybe he's a little more timid and, he's looking for the openings, but there's times where I think he's a little bit too timid in this spot that would hurt him against Max Holloway and the way that Max fights. If Max starts dictating the pace, that's going to just completely, Max could go out there and sweep it all together. The big part here for me is the difference maker is just the way that Max fights. Now, a lot of the guys that I think that a vulnerability on Kattar is Kattar's not good with pressure. He's seen the part where Kattar is a little bit off. He likes to, circle. Even when there's pressure coming his way, he kind of pushes over to the other side, and kind of rolls back out and wants to get back into the center. Does not want to be in a grappling situation. And Max Holloway is also kind of comfortable with that. He's comfortable, being in the center of the cage. He's not looking to clinch really too much. This whole fight, I believe, is going to be completely, a kickboxing match. You're not really going to see takedowns, I don't think, in this fight at all. Both of them are going to want to stand. They both believe in their striking. That's what you're going to see. I think that really helps Kattar in this spot, because he's not going to have to worry about the big push forward on him. He's going to be able to be in the pocket, be at boxing range, be able to utilize some of his striking from a range, not have to worry about level changing, not have to worry about, that push forward, the clinch, a takedown. I think that really helps Kattar compared to Max Holloway. That's the way that I look at it there. I think, again, the big part, since Max Holloway also lost against Dustin, I feel like a little bit, yes, he came back and he's had some wins and he looked pretty good in certain spots, but I think he looked like a world beater. And he was a world beater when he fought prior to the fight against Dustin Poirier. I thought that he was in that zone. He was really in that flow state where he was able to really just beat everybody, pick them apart. He almost made it look easy. And now I feel like kind of the tide has turned a little bit. That I think that this is a great spot to take Calvin Kattar. I think Kattar at plus 155 is a nice spot. I think the price is good. The price started ticking up there. I think if you got Max Holloway a little bit lower, now you're talking about 180, minus 180, minus 190. I think that price is too high right now. I think that Kattar is a good spot here. If you're looking at a plus 160 range on Kattar, who has the ability to go out there and fight for 5 rounds, I think he's got the gas tank to do that. He has the skill set to kind of, I think match some of the stand-up game. And again, I think that the distance at which Holloway fights is going to help Calvin Kattar. So I like Calvin Kattar here. I think he goes out there, he gets the job done. I think he can do it over 5 rounds. I think he can kind of outwork him over 5 rounds. We'll see what happens there. But for my free play, I will take Calvin Kattar plus 155. Now, the last one we're talking about real quickly, and I'm just kind of, shoot this one out there, is the prop bet that I do like here. And I thought it was a pretty good spot here. It was one I was even going to tweet out, so if you do follow me at Kyle Anthony UFC, but I figured I'd talk about it really quickly right here instead of posting it. But this was a spot here where it's a total on this one here, and you've got Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. This was a fight here where both these guys, we know who they are. I mean, obviously these guys are, 36, 37 years old, had a lot of losses here. You've got, Condit is two wins in his last 8 fights. You've also got Matt Brown, who's got 3 wins in his last 9 fights. And they've looked bad in certain spots. I mean, they have looked very bad. Both these guys are aging. They've taken brutal knockout losses. You've even got Matt Brown is either been knocked out or knocked out in his last 5 fights. You definitely see, and you've got in Condit, his finish rate is extremely high, whether he gets knocked out or he does win. There's a finish, not many decisions in there. Although his last one, I think, helps this. I think the last fight that Condit had went to a decision. I think that helps the price here a little bit. I think that's why you're getting a good spot here. You got the over-under is at 2.5 rounds at -106. I think that's a great price for an under here. I think that's a good spot. I'm actually kind of surprised that that's where it is, and I thought it would favor a little bit more the under on this spot. Just again, these guys, I don't think either one is going to be looking to kind of stay on the outside, fight smart. Neither of these guys are in any kind of title contention by any stretch of the imagination. They're known names, and they're known for brawlers. They're known to go out there and kind of go out on their shield. I think that's a spot where it works a little bit better for the under here. I didn't like anything I saw from either one. The only way this goes to a decision, in my opinion, is if they both just look so horrible that nobody has any power or nobody has any ability to do any kind of finish. But I think somebody here, both of these guys have, again, been brutally knocked out, finished in different situations, different spots. I think the under is a good spot. So as my other free play, I will be taking under 2.5 rounds on the Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown fight. So there you have it. Those are my 2 free plays for UFC on ABC 1. I gotta get used to saying that. So definitely check out at WagerTalk, link in the description, have plays up there for clients. And again, fantastic year last year. I want to thank everybody who has, again, been a part of it, believed in me to earn them money last year. Love all the DMs I'm getting from everybody and everybody who's fired up for this, and everybody who always give me the thumbs up, subscribing, liking everything. Always enjoy all that stuff, and everybody who is supportive of my content. And the way I do it back is got to give you some winners. So hopefully got some winners on Saturday night, and that's it. That's the show. So this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I will see you next time.